It's a beautiful day to be an optometrist. Much has been said of a woman finally ascending to the office of president of the AOA. And while I've tried to not make much of this, I do want to share a special story with you. In James Gregg's book, American Optometric Association, A History, he wrote about a meeting of the American Optical Association, which took place in August of 1911. And incidentally, it happened here in Salt Lake City. The building is still standing. The cornerstone on the building says that it opened probably about a month and a half just before the convention took place. He wrote, "Mild revolutions began at the 1911 convention at the Hotel Utah in Salt Lake City, and some precedents were broken. The revolt came from the West, and as might be expected, California was in the center of the ruckus." I'm quoting, it's not my words, guys, okay? Perhaps, fortunately, it was a lady, Mrs. D. Elva Cooper, an AOA member from Bradford, Pennsylvania, who delicately presided over the stormy session. He continued writing, saying, "With amazing frequency, members and officers of the AOA were unable to attend early conventions because of illness. Far more frequently than this had been the case in recent times, and the convention records include case after case. No president ever missed a convention until 1911, when President C.N. MacDonald was detained by illness, as was first Vice President E.E. Culverhouse of Toronto. Mr. Culverhouse's illness was not identified in the records, but we were told that impacted wisdom tooth were the problem for the other gentleman. This put Mrs. Cooper, who was second vice president, in line to preside over the 14th annual convention of the American Optical Association, which she decided to do over the objections of a few males. According to the August 1911 edition of the Optical Journal and Review of Optometry, a petition was actually floated around at the convention, and it was signed by many members asking Mrs. Cooper to step aside because it was not ladylike for a woman to conduct the business of a national meeting. The journal goes on to say the tone of the convention was, "What good is the AOA?" Association officers are used to that question, but in 1911 the crescendo was loud because the Salt Lake City Convention was the first in the far West, and the attendance was dominated by men who had not attended before and had little direct contact with the AOA. They were looking for tangible benefits. Several states were considering to withdrawal of their affiliation if something was not done to appease them. It may have been fortunate that Mrs. Cooper was the presiding officer. For one thing, she was respected, but even more importantly, she did not represent the old guard that usually ran things at conventions. There had been complaints that a few men were dominating the association, but Mrs. Cooper gave ample opportunity to speak with no favoritism. The committee assignments were well spread out, and the nominations for officers made from the floor, with 2 for each office, by secret ballot. The result was harmony and a solution to problems that might not have been otherwise occurred, and there was a completely new set of officers elected. By the way, Mrs. Cooper was not re-elected. That was 100 years ago in this very city. A lot has changed, and then yet, some things never really change. However, I have not seen any petitions circulated around the House saying that I couldn't serve, so I figure I'm safe. I do think it's interesting to note that my election completes a recent trend. Mrs. Tuna Grass is the president of the World Council of Optometry. Dr. Kirsten North is the president of the Canadian Association of Optometrists, and my friend, Dr. Carla Zadnik, is the president of the American Academy of Optometry. Bear with me on the voice, folks. What a beautiful year. We've had so many successes this past year. For example, Kentucky passed a monstrous bill in their state. It was a day when I, like so many of you in this room, were extremely proud to be an optometrist and even more proud of my colleagues in Kentucky. Yes, they now have the authority to take care of patients in a fashion they weren't able to before, but even more importantly, they won autonomy. With a few limitations, the State Board of Optometry in Kentucky has the ability to define optometry's scope of practice in the future. No one else will tell optometrists in Kentucky what they're capable of doing, and that's good for optometrists and good for our patients. AOA participated in the 3D Symposium in New York earlier this spring, and within a month, we had 450 media hits with 220 million media impressions in 1 month. At the time, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the 3D at Home Consortium. You might wonder what is the 3D at Home Consortium? Well, it's a group of 55 companies of the likes of Sony, Samsung, Dolby, DreamWorks, and THX. The memorandum says we will work with these companies to promote the awareness of good visual health. Ladies and gentlemen, we own 3D. No one but optometry is going to take care of someone who experiences the 3Ds of 3D, discomfort, dizziness, or lack of depth. If you experience any of these problems, see an optometrist. And stay tuned, we're talking to the Consumer Electronic Association right now about possible collaborations. The School Readiness Summit, Focus on Vision, was a huge success. What started as an idea a few years ago has turned into a coalition of non-optometrists spending a day and a half together discussing the visual needs of children as it relates to being ready to learn. Ultimately, a statement saying, comprehensive eye exams for school-age children are a foundation for a coordinated and improved approach to addressing children's vision and eye health issues as a key element of ensuring school readiness in American children. This statement, signed by groups like the American Public Health Association, the American Federation of Teachers, and this coalition has goals such as increasing the public awareness of the link between vision and learning, goals such as encouraging eye exams prior to entering school. Listen closely, eye exams, not screenings. We will be taking care of kids rather than just identifying them and having them slip through the cracks. What a beautiful time to continue my 2020 tour, visiting 20 optometry schools in 20 months. To date, I've completed 9 stops. On these visits, I've worked to meet with 3 different groups: the administration, faculty, and of course, the students. So why did I embark on this excellent adventure? It's about membership. It's about the value of membership, about lifelong membership in our association. For several years, we've been seeing a decline in the number of new graduates who've been transitioning their membership to the state and the national affiliates upon graduation. We need to reverse this trend, and this tour is one of several ways to do just that. I bring a message up to the schools about the importance of belonging. We are a family, an optometry family, and no one else cares if we thrive or succeed. We need to take care of our family and belonging to the organization whose sole purpose is to advocate for the profession of optometry, and our patients is a start. We need to make it easier for our new graduates to transition their membership. They don't want to fill out a piece of paper and mail or fax it in with a check. They want to go online to a centralized database and a billing system where they can fill in their information, give their credit card, pick how often they want it debited, and be done. We need to stop collecting 1,700 pieces of paper each spring from the new graduates and attempt to pass them along to the state where he or she is moving to. We simply need to get with the times and allow our business practices to change so that we can better accommodate the needs of our newest doctors. And to those delegates here in the House, you're important too. They want to see you. They want to see you in their school. They want to hear from you. They want to learn from you. They want to be asked to help with a letter writing campaign. They want to help lobby in Washington, D.C. This year, you've heard, we had a record number of students at the Congressional Advocacy Conference in D.C. 146 students. Let's give them a hand again. This is a group that wants to be involved, and I hope my tours had some small part in increasing those numbers. And to those students here today, let's see if we can get even more students to Capitol Hill next year. We need to work with the faculty at the schools. Honestly, I don't think we've done a very good job at this in the past. As a student, I had faculty members who were a huge influence in me and gave me confidence in my abilities as a doctor. And one of these faculty members took me aside and made sure I met leadership of the AOA when they came to visit in my school. He stressed to me that it was important to be involved in our profession. I took his words to heart, and I'm really glad that I did. It has meant so much to my life and to my patients. It's time we recognize these educators for their efforts. I take great pleasure in announcing today that beginning in 2012, we will have the first ever AOA Optometric Educator of the Year Award at the opening session of Optometry's meeting. They will be recognized right along with the Optometrist of the Year, the Young Optometrist of the Year, and the Para-Optometric of the Year. It's been a beautiful meeting, and at this meeting, we've been celebrating the anniversary of our inclusion in Medicare. A momentous occasion indeed, enabling us to help so many people over the years. But today, we have the opportunity to help even more. We need to define the pediatric vision benefit in healthcare reform as an eye exam. With all the resources that we have in the US today, there is no reason that amblyopia exists. If we're really serious about helping kids and giving them every opportunity to succeed in life, we'll see them as infants. We'll see them as 3-year-olds. We'll see them before they enter school, and we'll catch the developmental vision problems before there's a problem. Our kids deserve nothing less. Defining the pediatric vision benefit as an exam, not as a screening, would enable 11 million children to be taken care of that weren't taken care of before. And let us not forget the big picture. It's not just about seeing children, it's about the impact on them for the rest of their life. I see far too many people in their 70s and their 80s who have developmental vision problems and now are dealing with aging eye diseases like glaucoma and macular degeneration, and inevitably, it seems to always happen in the good eye. It's about the continuum of care of patients that starts in the first year of life. There is no better profession than optometry to take care of all of our patients' needs, regardless of their age. I look forward to the beautiful opportunities we have for the upcoming year. We will enhance the ability of our members to stay informed through the launch of a new version of AOA Connect. We will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the AOA News, and we will continue to be an advocate for our profession and our patients. Already, we've been recognized as the leading national voice on eye health as a member of the Diabetes Advocacy Alliance. AOA also had the honor of had the role of being the provider for eye care for the VFW national meetings, the largest gathering of America's veterans. We will build on our success in the healthcare overhaul implementation meeting that we held last fall in Denver, and once again gather optometry state and third-party experts in Washington, D.C. next April. And finally, we will progress towards achieving Dr. Ellis's goal of enacting 10 state patient access to care laws in 3 years, once called 10 and 3. But after a historic 2011, it is now our 6 and 2 initiative. I challenge each state here today to help make that initiative a reality. It's a beautiful day. 100 years ago, people asked, what good is the AOA? As several states considered withdrawal of their affiliation. My answer to this is, AOA is our future. To those students in the house today, look around. Some of these people in this room have been faithfully here for years, listening to the concerns of our profession and making changes to make it even better. And to those delegates in the house, look around for the students that are here and in the back. They are our future, and I know they want to continue to be part of this great family. I see it at every school visit that I do. As I've been on tour at the schools, I share life's little instructions for optometry. One lesson in particular I feel is the most important lesson of all. Scouting is huge in our household, and for those of you with the scouting background, you might recognize it. It's leave everything a little better than the way you found it. Leave everything a little better than the way you found it. In life, in love, and in work. I challenge each and every one of you here today in this house to leave optometry a little better than the way you found it. If each of us lives that lesson, we will continue to accomplish great things for our profession and, more importantly, for our patients. It truly is a beautiful day to be an optometrist. Thank you.